Hello, everyone. Welcome to Property Zone Live again. This is Sean Lee. Again, our topic is about Ringgit Malaysia has been falling a lot, and then it actually brings a high inflation. So, if you are a property investor or you're looking to buy a property to hedge against the inflation, perhaps you should consider what's the best type of property to buy now in the midst of high inflation and falling MYR, which is Malaysian Ringgit. Okay, without further ado, let me just pull out the screen I've done. And today, I'm just going to bring it out very quickly. Okay, go to the homepage. I'm going to just pull this in full screen. All right, I think for the past few weeks, there are perhaps few things that occupied the Malaysian media. Whether you turn on your Facebook, you open up the newspaper, if you still read the newspaper, so on and so forth. One thing you cannot escape from our eyes is that Ringgit, the performance of Ringgit, has fallen to 25 years old. So 25 years old, what does it mean? It's the worst performer in Asia after Japanese yen. Okay? I still remember this is exact the same year I went to the state. During that time, okay, in 1997, okay, the currency rate was at 2.8 ringgit per US dollar. Then subsequently, the year after, it was at 4.8. Okay, before our previous prime minister pegged it to 3.8, it was transacted at 4.8. So never in my wildest dream I would have thought I would see the ringgit depreciated further without any sudden drastic crisis happen like currency crisis 26 years ago. So not only that, our ringgit Malaysia has also hit the all-time low against Singapore dollar on 24th of October. They breached 3.5. Of course, for those Malaysians working in Singapore will be very good because if they can change back whatever saving they can make after deducting their expenses in Singapore, they can buy things cheaper back in Malaysia, including property. Okay, all this has been said. If you have taken a look in the graph of how we actually performed at the first half of the year, we were actually hovering below 4.3 and all the way close to 4.78. Of course, now it has gained back some strength. Whatever you see going up, it means we need more ringgit. Okay, so this is the performance of ringgit. How much ringgit needed in order to exchange for one Singapore dollar? Against, we are coming down from the previous low against Singapore dollar. Okay, when ringgit is dropping drastically, is also bringing high inflation. Come and think about it. Malaysia is actually a trading country. We export some stuff. We also import a lot of stuff. Okay, food, beverages, labors, as well as all the raw materials, particularly in building. So when our ringgit is weak, as you can expect, we also have to spend more to bring in all these things. So recently, what I've seen in newspaper, Facebook, or whatever, okay, you can see the rice. We're talking about shortage of rice. Because of shortage of local rice, price of imported rice also gone up. Okay, eggs, shortage of chicken, and etc. All right. The second thing, what we are saying is about our Prime Minister talking about rationalization of subsidy on electricity and diesel. So the war between Russia and UK that was been going on for almost 2 years. So some of them whether wonder the war is still going on. Actually, it's still going on, but it may not grab the full attention as the Middle East crisis for the moment. But what you have seen, the war between Russia and Ukraine has bring the inflation to the world from 0.3, 2.6, all the way to 8.4. Because the conflict now in Israel Palestine and also cause one of the most important energy, one of the most important factor that bring up the inflation is actually the crude oil prices. Now, some of us may argue that both Israel and Palestine are not the important oil exporting country. True. But I think number one is sentimental, psychology, and knee-jerk reaction. Whenever there's a conflict, there's a war, normally you will see US dollar go up. You see price of oil goes up. You will see the price of gold goes up as well. Okay, so because of that, the price of the oil has gone up. And second thing, even though Palestine itself is not a oil producing country, important oil producing country, but their neighboring country, okay, in the Middle East, they are the biggest producer and exporter to the world. If they get involved in this conflict, hopefully they won't. I think physically and psychologically, it will drive the oil prices to the further height. Okay, this is a this is a press citation from Ministry of Finance. Our Prime Minister has already mentioned about the rationalizations of subsidy, basically in a way to cut subsidy by stages, particularly focusing on electricity and diesel. Less focus on diesel. All right. As you know, our car, putting electricity car away, most of the ICE, internal combustion engine car, they rely on either petrol or diesel. And most of the logistic firm, they'll be using diesel, okay, to transport goods. So if, as a driver point of view, okay, if you're spending 150 weekly on diesel alone, that is 600 a month. Currently, our diesel price is about 215. But according to our finance minister, also our prime minister, the market price for diesel is going to be 375. So imagine if the diesel price goes up from 215, 215, all the way to 375. This guy, okay, talking about regular driver who's driving a diesel vehicle, his monthly expenses is going to go up from 600 to 1,000 plus. Scary, right? Okay. Now, this is not the first time the petrol or our fuel prices go up so much. Back in 2008, I'm not sure how many of you have remembered this one. Okay. If we take a look, what happened in 5th of June 2008, oil prices for diesel goes up from 1.58 per liter all the way to 2.58, 1 ringgit extra for diesel. And for petrol, you're also seeing a drastic increase for example, RON 97 from 1.92 all the way to 2.7. This is how drastic our fuel prices has gone up. For those of you saying that the prices cannot increase so much, and I just want to share with you, it happened in Malaysia back in 2008. And this is the articles. If you want to Google it, you can see it. So what happened? Of course, inflation kicks in. But at the same time, if you look at the last, which is the black colors line, that indicate Malaysian housing price index, you can see a drastic increase post 2008. Okay, I'm not saying this is the only factor that bring the housing price in Malaysia to goes up, but it's undeniable that when the fuel cost has increased drastically, it increased the price of almost everything. Okay, directly and indirectly. So property is the ultimate receiver for all the products, services rendered. Okay, when you see a real estate, you see a property, there are thousands of industry behind it. So when the price of all this, the industry that has gone up behind all the properties, you will definitely see the price of the properties goes up. Okay, petrol affect almost everything, and property has more than 2,000 sub-industries supporting. Whatever price goes up, hardly come down. I think all of us has experienced it. All of us knows it. Okay. So if property really is the best hedge against inflation, if you're looking to buy a property, then what would be the best property to invest? I want to share with you, if Ringgit Malaysia is going to continue to fall. Hopefully they won't, but I would think you should look into two T. The T, number one T is tourist spot. Okay. The second one is transit oriented. Of course, transit oriented, that means you buy a property, they can go most of the places, okay, whether to work, from home to school, everywhere using public transportation. Because when fuel prices has gone up a lot, people would eventually take the second option. If they can stay in the place, they take public transportation without relying on car, they will probably save them a big chunk of money. So transit oriented will become more important and relevant in the face of high fuel prices. Back to the point number one, tourist spot. Why tourist spot property? Okay, if you buy a property that is focusing on short-term rental, for example, and your customer or your tenant, short-term tenant will be from overseas, falling ringgit Malaysia means good for tourism because it's going to improve rental. From tourist point of view, it becomes cheaper to visit, okay, Malaysia if ringgit comes down. I give you an example. If for most traveler, when they decide to make a plan, airline, food, and accommodation are the three major cost components in their trip. Okay, but if you book an airline, normally it would be denominated in your own currency, country currency. But when talking about food and accommodation, okay, when ringgit becomes cheaper, US dollar becomes stronger. From overseas tourist point of view, Malaysia actually become a cheaper place to visit. Okay, it put things in perspective in figures. Let's say ringgit has depreciated from 4 versus 1 US dollar to 5 versus 1 US dollar. Hopefully it will not come, but I'm just doing a calculation. It will mean a 25% drop in ringgit Malaysia value. Okay, 4 to 5, 25% drop. It also means from tourism, using USD perspective, the room that is costing 400 ringgit has become 300 ringgit for US dollar point of view. So cheaper price, if the quality maintained, sure, will become top of the list for the overseas tourists to visit. Okay. The other second thing is in the face of high inflation, if you take a loan to finance and purchase a property, okay, whether it's a tourist focused property or whether it's transit oriented property, okay, or the rest of the property, your actual loan value depreciated alongside with inflation. The actual loan value actually depreciated when ringgit Malaysia depreciates. Okay, I give a simple calculation. I think nobody is not familiar. I think everyone is familiar, okay, with the terms as if you put a fixed deposit today, inflation is going to eat the value of the money you put in the bank, correct? If you put 1 million in fixed deposit, after 10 years, because of inflation, the real value of the money, the real purchasing power of the money, probably is going to worth about 700 to 800,000. I think there's a very common, simple term for everyone to understand. This is actually when you put 1 million in ringgit as a depositor. Turn the table. If today you are taking a loan from the bank, the amount of 1 million, and imagine you're taking a loan to finance your property, okay? The property is going to be a longer term, 20 years term, all right? You take a loan of 1 million ringgit loan today. After 20 years loan, the actual loan value is actually depreciated. Okay, so 1 million today's after 20 years probably only means about 500 to 600,000 because of inflation. So if you put the money in the bank, you value less 10 years, 20 years time because of inflation. At the same time, if you buy a property using the loan, normally property prices itself, it goes up in tandem with inflation, but your actual loan value will also depreciate after 20, 30 years time. I think there's a very significant things as a property to remember. They are buying a good property in the good places, by taking a loan, you're actually reaping the best side of both. Okay, so if you have a friend who's also happens to be a foreigner, if they want to invest in Malaysia, they worry about ringgit Malaysia continue to depreciate. I think one of the things to hedge against that is actually take a Malaysia ringgit denominated loan, because whatever they were taking will also goes down in value after 20, 30 years. So to conclude the session by today is, because of the war, ongoing war, conflicts around the world, and because of Malaysia is going to reduce the subsidy for electricity and diesel, we are seeing price is going to go up and nowhere else. All right, because of this inflation coming in, and because of cost, the raw materials for building is going to keep coming up. Okay, if you decide you want to take a property to hedge against all this foreseeable inflation, perhaps transit oriented property, tourist oriented or tourist focused property in the short term rental should be in your list of consideration. Okay, so that will be my sharing for today, and wish you guys a good evening. I will see you soon next week, next month, and talk to you again. Bye bye.